James, it's good to be back, I would have thought.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's great to be back, and it's been a good week in training. So it's nice to see the lads, especially great result for them last week, and a great result for us. So yeah, really good to be back.
What did you? Well, talk us through the experience of watching at home.
Well, watching at home is when you got two little girls under 5 years old. It's quite chaotic, and I've not got a big mansion where I can go and lock myself away in a room. So we ended. They had their iPads first half, and then second half they sat next to me. So it was a little bit different from what I'm used to on a game day. So yeah, bless them. So they were good as gold though. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah. Is their language better than hats? Or?
yeah. I won't comment on that one.
But was it frustrating, or is it just one of those things having to watch off?
It was surreal. It was surreal in the sense of that it was something totally different. But the game was left in trusted hands with Wayne, Jared, Jim, and the rest of the staff. And it's no surprise really that we've done so well with the preparation that we had all week. And the reaction from the Salford game really pleased me. So yeah, I was really pleased with the result and the performance.
Did you have to get involved much, or did you just leave them?
I had a Zoom meeting with them on Tuesday to let them know that I wouldn't be in. My dialogue with Hats was probably 4 or 5 times a day. I was probably irritating him, trying to ring him all the time to find out what was going on. So I had a meeting with him on Tuesday via Zoom in the meeting room. Then we had a meeting on Friday where just before we did the opposition meeting. So as part of that, and then Saturday before the game at the ground, another Zoom meeting with them, talking around the game plan then, which Wayne delivered. Communication was there with Wayne the whole week, and again, it's a terrific job everybody did. But now we've got to follow that up with our trip to Scunthorpe.
I was going to say it must have been big aspects of that game must have been pleasing, but it is backing it up. It's always the case in League Two, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought we were excellent in transition on the weekend. I think there was question marks over us with our contacts around first contact, second balls, our industrious aspects, if you like, were questioned. And I think the lads stepped up terrifically against Harrogate, who, by the way, are no mugs in what they are and what they do. So that was pleasing. Like I said, I thought we were excellent in transition as well. And it's a really tough one because a lot of people spoke about, well, they had the ball a lot more than us, but when you're 4-0 up after 60 minutes, it's a really, really difficult one then to do that, to look at possession stats. But I was really, really pleased with it. And now going to Scunthorpe, we've got to back it up.
I guess that's the beauty of, I know everyone does their analysis, but stats in isolation don't mean a lot, do they?
No. Always the most important one to me is expected goals. So expected goals for, expected goals against. They're the two main stats that I look for every week, if you like, to see where we're at and what we're doing, and we're doing reasonably well in those areas.
The player who came in, Ryan Haynes, he's had to bide his time, but he did very well, didn't he?
He did, and it was a tough one for Aaron because Aaron hasn't done anything particularly wrong. It was just I wanted that left side balance in the team, which Ryan gives us, and Ryan did terrific as well. So I was really pleased for Ryan.
It was a scrap all the second half of last season, and I guess it'll continue because the other side, Cameron's not giving Aaron a sniff at the moment either. So it's it's I suppose the big thing for me is that we got competition for places, and that's what I'm really keen to get, and that's always going to be there. While I'm here is competition, and we've all got to push each other. My staff have got to push me, players have got to push each other, I've got to push the players, and the players got to push me. And I think that's really important that we keep continuing to do that, and that's what we have got, real strong competition in the full-back areas, which is really, really pleases me. On the competition front, how's Robbie? Is he Robbie Wilmot?
Robbie will hopefully be available for tomorrow. Same with Matthew.owen. So I'm hoping if we get through today, then they'll be available for tomorrow.
It's more nice headaches, I guess. Two
proper story.
Yeah, it is. We've got one or two issues in camp with regards to not COVID related at the moment, because we got a test again this morning. So touch wood that stays the same. But we've got a few illnesses and a few knocks. So we have to bear that in mind as well.
Is there anyone you can let us know about, or is it?
Yeah. Well, Lewis Collins won't be available for the weekend through illness, and then Timmy Abraham is touch and go at the minute.
On the selection front, you've gone back to flat back 4 rather than 3 in the past 2 games. Is that just a case of horses for courses, or are you settling in with what you think your number 1 will be? Yeah,
it's. I look at it around games that we play, so it all depends on how the opposition press, and I think that's how I look at it with the staff. If they have a real high press, a real strong press against us, then we might have to go to a 3. And I mean 3 centre halves in that, then I look at it. If it's not as a strong press, then we go with 2 centre defenders to build. But within that, we'll create overloads in certain ways through our midfield players, and I think that's where we'll always try and build with X amount of players to build. But we've got good footballers in the team that can take the ball. So sometimes it'll be a 4, sometimes it'll be a 5, depending on opposition and depending how the lads train in a week and what we feel the opposition strengths are. So I'll flip between those 2 as I see fit from a tactical viewpoint.
On that front, you must have been delighted with the way Josh Bask settled into the game, and so
no, it's no real surprise. Yeah, it's no real surprise to me because we've done a lot of work around Josh. Watched a lot of his games from mostly last year with the appearance he had in the Championship. Also had experiences against him when we were at Cardiff, so I knew a lot about him. I know AD, the assistant manager at Coventry, very, very well because I did my pro license with him. Wayne played with AD as well. Mark Robbins has been terrific with us within helping us get that done. So it's no real surprise to me how well he did. So what Josh has got to do is continue that, and that's the challenge for him, because Josh behind him has got a strong contingent of centre halves who wants to play in his position, which is what I want. I want that competition.
Scunthorpe in particular, what are you expecting from them?
Well, I'm really conscious of the fact is that they are 23rd in the league, but we can't take that as if we're just going to go there, turn up and go and play, because it's not that simple. They're fighting for their lives. I think they've got a very good manager in Keith Hill, who's been around the divisions a lot. One thing we're going to have to be is patient on the weekend, because a lot of teams they play against have a lot more possession than them. So they have the second lowest percentage of possession in the league with 45%. So we're going to have to take the ball. We're going to have to be patient. We're going to have to be patient in our build-up. And it will be a challenging game in that sense, where we're going to have to break them down.
On their own patch as well, they've had some draws, not wins, but nonetheless, they've shown how difficult they can be.
Yeah, they do. And they overload the middle of the pitch well, because they flip between, you could call it a diamond if you like, with 2 up front. So we're going to have to find ways to combat that around first contact, second balls. We have to be strong in that again, like we were against Harrogate, because they do like to. Matheson, the lad they signed from Wolves on loan, likes to play early and behind, so we're going to have to be ready for that. But also we're going to have to be able to take the ball against that diamond. And you're right, they are on their own patch, and we need to impose ourselves on the game. And
travelling support, it'd be nice to have a big support as you did in Walsall on New Year's Day. So it'd be just shy of that amount of fans, I would have thought, which is incredible considering it's.
Yeah, fair play to the club, because they put on the transport as well for the supporters, which I think is a really nice touch, which is a really nice thing for them to do, which I don't expect anything less from this football club really in how they are, and it's very much a family driven, supporter driven football club because of how the ownership structure is, and it'll be great to see our support. I think we're expecting 500, which would be amazing going to Scunthorpe really, and I'm looking forward to seeing them as well. So because I've missed them,
and they make a difference.
They make a massive difference, and I know, and I never said it about the home games, about making excuses about not having fans, and I haven't, but they do make a massive difference for us, and they're instrumental to what we do. They really are.
Finally, from me, transfers. You got 2 in. How are your sort of efforts to get more?
Yeah, that's going to be. I think if we do anything, then it'll be last minute because of the type of players that I'm looking at. We're looking at. So I'm content with what we got at the minute because I said at the beginning. I said the ideal number would be 3, but if it ends up being 2, then I'm comfortable with that in what we got. And again, we've got a relatively large squad which we've trimmed, which I wanted to do. Nobody else asked me to do. I wanted to do that. So I'm content at the minute. There might be one. There might be one more, but we'll wait and see on that.
Okay, so it's nothing you feel you desperately need.
No, not particularly. But again, there's 9-10 days left of the window, and we've got 3 games between that time. So a lot can happen in that as well.
And I guess it's all impacted, wasn't it? Because you've kept your loanees. I think Russell Martin said Ollie Cooper, who on paper would be the most threat to go back, is going to stay the season. So that's a big part of it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and we kept Finn Azaz and we kept Jake Kane. So their opportunity for recall is now passed. So we've got them for the rest of the season, which in some ways is almost like, well, it's like the continuation of what we're trying to do. So that's really pleasing.
Is that the case for all of them, that it goes past a day?
Yeah. In certain contracts of the loan agreement, there's a window of opportunity where you can break that loan agreement.
Okay. Right. And for loans, because you've got maximum in the matchday squad, haven't you? Would you still consider a loan, even though that would mean you having to be selective with the matchday squad?
Yeah, I think you have to be with the current market and the current situation. So we're always mindful of that. Yes.
Brilliant. See you tomorrow. Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Morning, James. Apologies for missing the very start of that. I'm sure you answered this to Chris, but I'd like to ask you anyway. How are you? Obviously, you had COVID. You all recovered?
Yeah, I'm recovered now. Thank you. Yeah, got there in the end. So all good. Thanks.
Were you okay? James, Wayne said you were a little bit rough.
Yeah, well, I was at the start, believe it or not, which surprised me. So it was myself and my wife both tested positive. Lucky that the girls didn't get it. So that was probably the main thing for me, because I think that would have been harder. But it was a little bit rough at the beginning of the week, but then towards the end of the week I was fine. Sorry, Michael, you're on mute.
I know you're involved in the preparations for the game. Wayne said you were, taking Zoom meetings and stuff. How did you find it following the game, presumably watching the game, but obviously not being able to be at the game? What was that like? And I presume the scoreline massively helped your your mood.
Yeah, I said to Chris at the start, I said it's quite surreal. I said it was really surreal because for the first time ever, I said the girls were sat on their iPads nice and quiet watching it, and then all of a sudden, second half, they're next to me wanting to watch it with Daddy. So that was quite surreal. And then when I'm trying to speak to Wayne about different things on the bench, I've got my 2 little girls around. So, but they were good as gold. So my wife managed to look after them for us. But it was good to be involved in it, in the sense of that I just passed my thoughts on to Wayne. Wayne and the staff did a terrific job, and I wouldn't expect anything less because that's our job. And I'm mindful that we need to follow this up at Scunthorpe.
Scunthorpe, is it one of them that looks easier on paper and it's kind of a manager's a bit of a worry because fans will look at it and go they're second bottom, but actually the next 2 teams you play, Scunthorpe and Leyton Orient, one's second bottom, one's 13th. They've both lost the same number of games this season.
Yeah, but then Leyton Orient won a lot more games, but Leyton Orient shouldn't be where they are. But on the flip side of it, talk about Scunthorpe, I think, yeah, that is always in the back of my mind, and I've seen it at Cardiff numerous times when in the Premier League we were the lesser club, and then when we play the big clubs, you kind of step up your game. Not saying that's the same as Scunthorpe, Newport, but you have that mentality there about almost you got nothing to fear come where you're at, so you have to bear that in mind. But also from my point of view, I don't believe our lads are the type of individuals that will just believe they can just turn up and get a result, because we're not that way inclined. I'm not that way inclined. My staff have been at this level for a long time. I've been involved in football for a long time now to know that we have to focus on the job at hand, and we have to do that tomorrow at Scunthorpe.
Fans back in Wales this weekend, back at Swansea. I know that won't affect Newport for a couple of games yet, but bigger picture wise, it's massive, isn't it? Both for the club in terms of your potential for success, and you not having a a sort of a disadvantage compared to your rivals, but also for your fans, because it's football is very important to a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think first of all, we're going to be traveling with 500 to Scunthorpe, which says what our group of fans are like. To travel 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday morning up to Scunthorpe, I find remarkable, and I have nothing but admiration for everybody who's going to wanted to support us, and hope we can put a performance on they're proud of. And then with regards to the home games, I've missed them. The players have missed them. We're professionals. We've had to do our job. They make a huge difference for us. I know the impact of football on people's lives. I've seen it firsthand on the benefits of it, and I'm really pleased that we can get them back in for Barrow, and also for our running in February, because you look at the February run of fixtures, we've got some really tough games at home and away. So we've got to have as much support as we possibly can with our supporters.
Just finally, James, I just wanted to ask you one on James Waite, who I think we're speaking to in a bit. You've taken quite a hard route to get where you are today, to be manager of Newport County, and I'm not trying to compare the two things, but he's had quite a hard route to get where he is today, to be a player at Newport County, obviously someone you know well. I just wonder if you could tell us a bit about his kind of journey, if you like, and what it was that made you think he can cut it at this level.
Yeah, well, I've worked with James since when I first worked at Cardiff, I was part-time, and I worked with the under-14s, and James was in the group, and James was the smallest player by a country mile in the group. And then I became full-time at Cardiff, and one of the things we did with James was that when he got to under-16s, under-15s, under-16s, we were playing down in the lower age groups, because to influence games with his technical ability, he could do that, not a problem. We need to dip him in between the two. So you play in his age group normally, then he would drop out down to the younger age groups, because we wanted him to be able to control games. And I don't believe he would be able to do that as a young player in the higher age group. So we did that and managed that really well. He was lucky then, he had a really good education, because I stepped up to the first team. Then he had a really good education with Craig Bellamy and Matt Bloxham and James McCarthy in the academy. And I think that helped him. And James is very tenacious. I think you can see and when I've seen it been happening on the iFollow, when Leg had gone straight through Waity on the touchline when he first came on, he just banked straight back up. And I think the modern day player might have stayed down, but I knew James would get straight back up straight away, and that's the kind of character he is, quite tenacious. But he's then he travelled. He had a full pre-season when we got promoted to the Premier League to America with us under Neil Warnock, and then he went out on loan. Then didn't really kick off to what the levels I wanted him to, because of opportunity, not down to him. And then when Mick came in, Mick loved him. Mick loved James, but with our style at that time, it probably didn't suit James. James went to Waterford, had a really good time at Waterford, then came back and got released at Cardiff, and then went to Panabont, and Reece has done terrific for him to get him to where he is. So James had setbacks along the way, so he's very humble in where he is. James is a very quiet young man, very unassuming, very humble, and don't think you'll get too much out of him in the interview. But what he is, he does his talking on the pitch, and I was really pleased when he came on the weekend as well.
And he, if he's going to develop an eye for goal, Reece is probably a pretty good person to bring that out of him. Yeah,
for sure. But there's lots of aspects that we need to work on with James's game, like all our players, and that's what we'll continue to do. And one thing James has got, like all of our players, is that a willingness to learn, and that really excites me.
Great. Thank you for your time, James. I'm
no
glad
problem,
you're
Mike.
feeling better.
Thank you.